I do actually remember that. Using bones for horse bits and other things, pulleys, and also using porcelain for pulleys as well. There were some porcelain pulleys, but I don't think they worked out very well. They kept breaking. It was a test project and it failed because because the porcelain just couldn't be. I forget, but there were some problems where they were sold, but and made, but they really weren't that good. I think they were used for something else, for crushing up. I think people bought them maybe to crush them up and reuse them later on or something like that. Little round porcelain like blocks, basically round blocks. I think they used to ship them like that or something. I forget. There's something about pulleys or something. I had some things with pulleys and porcelain, and I think at one of my places maybe they were making porcelain to be used somewhere else or something. I don't really even remember anymore. But when he said about the bone bits, I do remember that. We were making. It was back when playing around with some other stuff. As you know, bones tend to pile up. I mean, if you have like 500,000 or a million cattle, and you're slaughtering cattle for meat every single day, the bones that pile up tend to be this huge, enormous pile. Within like 2 or 3 years, you get this pile that's like the size of a city. It's like that's the boneyard, and literally like bones piled up like crazy. So it was kind of like this thing that just piled up. I mean, we turn bones into Jello nowadays and other things, and grind them back up and use them for fertilizer. But back in the old day, before the advanced grinders, they really couldn't do that. I mean, using stone, using crushing. I mean, we have metals nowadays, but back in the day, they used to use a lot of stones for crushing. Basically the same idea as a lot of the things that I built later on. Those little things that kind of like squish things, but they were made out. The bits were made out of chiseled stone. They would chisel a stone, then put it in there, and try and hold it in place, and then it would crush, like that, using a water wheel or whatever. Anyway, ancient stuff, and I'm sure the experts know more about it than I do, but because I don't know that much, I just know different products that were offered over the years that I was behind. Like the different projects that I oversaw, and kind of worked with, and then it's like, yeah, not gonna make a lot of money from that, but I mean, people bought it. It was useful, and I made some money. Some things I just broke even on. I didn't really make money on it. It was just kind of like providing, as when you have a world of people and you only have so much metal, and only have so much so much of these different other products, like so much wood, so much this, so much that. Offering a variety of things was always a good idea. So I tried to offer like a variety of things, like like the porcelain pulleys, which actually they worked, but they had serious load range capabilities. There should have been a stamp maybe about. Well, I mean, they're used for two different things. They were first used as actual pulleys, and they had a load range, I think, stamped on the bottom or something like that, or something, some information stamped on the bottom. And then later on, I think they used them for I don't know if porcelain is a rare thing or whatever, but they used to take them and crush them, I think, or something. I don't even remember, to tell you the truth. I just remember something about porcelain round plugs, and because they didn't wear out, because before the porcelain, I think there was wood, and the wood pulleys wore out like crazy. So you could get a pulley in either wood, or you can get it in ivory or some sort of bone kind of thing, or you can get it in porcelain. So because before metal, there was porcelain and the porcelain pulleys, which they had tendency to break, but they were used. They didn't wear out. They were stronger than the rope. So there was that time when sailing ships had porcelain pulleys, or some sort of clay-like pulleys. Easier to make than metal pulleys. They didn't rust, and as long as you didn't overstress them, they would hold. I think they had big round circles though. There's something about the circle. They had this weird little finicky thing about them where maybe they used a wood insert or something. I don't know. No, that wouldn't work. I don't know. There's something about them. Well, they went through a couple different changes actually. Um, they tried them thick with the center hole, and they did a couple different things. I'm trying to think. They were for ships though. It's for sailing ships because they didn't rust, and I mean there should be some what's called some pulleys on ships on some old ships or somewhere around there. Like you should find a complete set somewhere. I mean they kept everything, and I don't know. I mean, you should have records and artifacts like all over, complete artifacts. They always save some of it for me because I always wanted them to keep just a little bit for me, so I would know later on. So they'd be like, "Oh yeah, there's that little thing that I made a long time ago." So there should be more than just little bits and pieces. I can't imagine that it's all just gone. I mean, that's ridiculous. But yeah, I do remember the bone bits. Bone bits. They're for horses and stuff. Because it didn't rust, and some stuff was made just to kind of like show off, not show off, but I mean show whatever. But I mean, it was all sold, it's all products. So. Anyway, yeah, I'm sure I've probably labeled more detailed things. It's kind of neat to see it though. I remember that when I was a child. I was like, "You lost the whole city? How do you lose a city?" Like, aren't cities kind of big? How did you lose a city? Because they're like, well, we can't find it. It's like, what? What do you mean you can't find it? It's like losing New York. Like, how do you lose New York City? I mean, could you lose New York City? I mean, it's like it was a big city. Had like 3,000 soldiers or something like that. I remember when I was a child and I was describing it. I was like, how did you lose it? I had 3,000 soldiers there. Blah 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 blah. And they're like, we lost it. It's like, you lost my city. As a little child, I was like, you lost my city. Really? How did you do that? But then they're like, well, rivers change course, blah, 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 or something like that. I don't know. I was really young back then. It was funny when I was sending the people out, I was like, go find it. I was so upset because I was like, how did you lose my favorite city? I had a couple favorite cities. And anyway, though, kind of interesting.